Hello friends and welcome. In our previous episode, we shared about the management of screen time. In this episode, we'll discuss a very closely related topic, how we can help our children manage their use of devices. As we have shared before, studies have shown that excessive media use can lead to attention problems, school difficulties, sleep and eating disorders, and obesity. In addition, the internet and cell phones can provide platforms for illicit and risky behaviours. So how can we help our children manage devices safely? As always, the first thing we will have to do is to have a good relationship with our children, namely affirming them and building in them a good sense of self-esteem, making a point to be there for them, providing a warm and conducive environment for honest and open communication, and forming them in the virtues such as temperance, fortitude, and prudence. These were discussed in episodes 7 to 17 of the series. The overarching principle in managing devices is this. We want to manage devices in a way that will make them good servants, not bad masters. We should be in control of devices and not the other way around, and always within reasonable limits and never harming the good, dignity and well-being of ourselves and others. Whether it is for leisure, education, work or connection with others, we use them in a way that can help us become better persons and facilitate a deeper communion of presence with others. The bottom line, therefore, devices can be used for good or for bad. The choice is ours to make. Allow me to use an analogy to bring this point across. Take a knife, for example. It can be used for good, lots of good, in helping us cut food for cooking and fruits to eat. It can even be used to heal when used, for example, in surgery. But we know it can be used in a way that can harm or even kill ourselves and others. How would we introduce our children to using the knife then? Will we let our infants and toddlers touch or play with it in any way? No way, right? Even as they grow older, we will want to teach them and guide them about its uses and dangers before we let them use it. And even then, in a supervised and calibrated manner first, wouldn't we? And we will only likely let them use a knife independently once they have shown themselves to be able to do so safely and responsibly. The same with digital devices. In fact, the part of our brain that is responsible for the higher brain functions including decision making, problem solving, emotion regulation and impulse control, the prefrontal cortex, is thought to be properly developed only at around 23 to 25 years of age or so, which means we can be considered more or less mature around that age to manage devices, right? Okay, in my case, my wife might beg to differ, but that is what we're told. With this in mind, we can now move on to sharing some tips on the management of devices. These are just some guidelines for your consideration, and as parents, you would probably be best placed to know when and how to implement the measures needed. 1. Avoid using a digital device as a babysitter for our children. We will remember from our previous episode that children below the age of 18 months of age, right, should not be given recreational screen time, right? 2. Avoid using digital devices to calm our children, as this can lead to problems with our child's own ability with setting limits and processing and managing their emotions. 3. Set up clear rules and time limits on media usage. The younger they are, the less access. A child's brain develops rapidly during the early years, and young children learn best by interacting with people, not screens. 4. Always praise and encourage self-control when they abide by them. 5. The younger our kids are when using devices, the more we should be supervising them. 6. Avoid giving primary school children personal mobile devices with internet access. You can be sure that teachers will be able to reach us anytime if they need to. At this stage, we should try to sit down with our children when using devices, teach them how to use these responsibly, and help them learn the skills and strategies they need to do so. This will help them prepare for the time when they can have their own devices as they grow older. Even if they do need phones with internet access for school purposes, say for chat groups set up by the teacher, and we are not comfortable with letting them have a smartphone or other device all to themselves, we can consider letting them use one of our own at certain periods of time, and to which we should have access as part of the accountability. After all, the device does belong to us. It can then be returned by a certain time and kept with us for the night. 7. When it comes to family rules for managing devices, it will be good for us to explain these to our kids in age-appropriate ways. That our main objective is not to restrict them, but to help them. Explain the reasons behind the rules so they don't seem so arbitrary. You may want to share with them stories of how others have been hurt badly by improper use of devices and social media, such as becoming victims of cyberbullying, sexting, and so on. Now, when it comes to enforcing the rules, both parents must be consistent, and consistent too in meting out disciplinary measures when these rules have been broken. For example, implementing timeout from using devices if they have not been used responsibly. 8. Once they enter secondary school, we may consider providing our children with a mobile phone, but with the following considerations. Start with dumb phones with no internet access. If they need internet access, they can use the computer at home during the designated times for such use. In this way, they can also develop temperance and learn how to use their devices in a measured and responsible way. Once they show us they are responsible with the use of the devices, we can then, over time, gradually let them use phones with internet access. 9. Place the computers and tablets, devices, in common and prominent spaces in the house, in full view of and frequented by other family members, such as the living room and the dining area. Do not allow devices to be used in their own rooms. 10. Be firm about device-free times in the family. For example, at meal times, during family activities, and so on. I've heard of families that go for walks in the park or outings to the beach without their mobile phones, including the parents, to ensure that their attention will be on each other and not on their devices. Some families have even instituted device-free days, such as Sundays, so that they can focus their attention on other important aspects of life, such as church, family outings, personal reflection time, and so on. Some parents even put a time in the evening when all members of the family, including themselves, put away their devices in a common area, say in the parents' room, so that from that time on, they are not distracted by these. 11. Protect our devices. We will discuss the various ways and levels of protection in a later episode. 12. Be good role models for our kids when using our devices. Monkey see, monkey do. Our children learn best from the example we give. And finally, remember to pray always and entrust our children and our endeavors to our Lord. Without Him, we can do nothing right. Neither can our children. So for our reflection as we end this episode, let us ask ourselves, are we ourselves in control of our devices, or are we controlled by them? Till we meet again, take care and God bless you and the family always. If you found this video useful, I invite you to put a like to it, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others whom you think will benefit from it. God bless you always.